So Hank sees Randall and he says, "Hey there, Randall. Been hunting?" And Randall turns on that hose and he washes off some blood, yes, on those hands of his. And he says, "Nope, hijacking America's lifelines. Make that video if you hijack call to me. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 check in over a decade of asking. That's a lot of AT&T blood on their hands." Post. Henry is at church on Easter Sunday, tomorrow. And someone has played one of my honk at the Mormon cult, Muslim cult, and AT&T employees has played one of those honk for Jesus at the Mormon cult. Perverts casing your neighborhood when the only one's home, or your kids after school. He's played one of those for Henry. Someone else did at the church there, and he said, "You know, I did that before Stone Cold said to honk for Jesus. I honked at one. He and the other two Mormon missionaries were running ski mask on, the little tie and elder a pin in place." Remember to park those noisemakers outside of every AT&T's employees. Just those lower levels who know all about the dirty little secrets of the upper levels. Now let me give you a parable. It's a press conference. The general's there. So's Trump, and the general's phone rings, and he turned it off. But he answers anyway. The Military Pit Bull Project is handing out his number. And he quickly hangs up real quick, but everyone at the press conference knows exactly what is happening. The general is being pointed out as a traitor. I don't know if that double whirly nose is going to land and pick him up just then, but look for it. 15-minute call to police non-emergency, often past 2 years. All potential tourists to California, when you come to LA, this bizarre Middle Eastern sounding shriek that's supposedly for hearing impaired, maybe to damage hearing, I'm sure, and designed to dissuade you from continuing to hold for the police. That's what awaits you and your family when you come to California as tourists. So call up all LAPD, all California cops, all California government, and 9/11 Flight 93 check-in post N5 with them on speakerphone. You trying to call me wanting to know why your family should come here to California and spend tourist dollars when they are taunting a man in a wheelchair and not looking out for your safety. Here AT&T's Randall Stevenson's hate of a man in a wheelchair and truth. But yeah, design, because I've seen a lot of Mormon and Muslim hate in AT&T and underneath his apartment down below. Design. The Mormon Muslim Military Pit Bull Project watch list. And yeah, let me give you a quick one since I only got 20 seconds left. Jeff has been calling up Mormons and Muslims left and right, seeing if they can get them angry and tell them what's involved, and one starts yelling, other than, you know, hijack America's lifeline. He once starts yelling about decking Americans and what he's planning. They literally set off a fire alarm to terrorize a man in a wheelchair. Yeah, those elevators aren't operating during a fire. They've done it before. It is, yes, Face Like a Man, very well-fed group. From what I noticed, and they've been the Mormon cult and Muslim cult down below all Easter Sunday with their noise. Form those Mormon, Muslim. Watch call list. AT&T as well. The Mormons don't mind being disturbed at their home. They send missionary perverts to Casey neighborhoods when the only ones home are your kids after school. And the Muslims, you saw their missionary work, didn't you? 9/11. Keep an eye on. Watch call list. Get going. It's Sunday at an ugly as sin Mormon temple, Mormon cult temple. And the devil insists they spend 3 long hours worshiping him and his lies. So they're doing that. As part of that, they separate into the men's groups and the women's groups. And Mama Melanie Alibi is talking to Rebecca, church princess, missionary. And she says, let me give you an example. Jim J. and Charlie M. were a case in this neighborhood when only the kids are home after school. And this gal was a teasing them. They were knocking on the door and she said, please go away. I'm not interested in your cult. And they had to break down the door. And that's why we got to stick together and be alibis for the raping. Here AT&T's harassment techniques. Make a parable about them. The general's gone to Dallas to talk to Randall Stephenson, CEO, and he asked him, what other than America's hijacked lifelines, what other treason might you be involved in that MELTON, Stone Cold MELTON, sounds familiar? Might know about, because you're talking about it in your parking lot, you're showing him stuff left and right. And Randall faints first, and they revive him, and he says, well, we got that senator, representative, politician surveillance programs going, the internet and cable boxes, and we got that guy doing he goes to LA a lot, doing the Trader North thing currently in South America. Randall Stephenson, AT&T CEO, is in Russia talking to Putin, and he showed him a new setup there with his computer. And he tells him, you can listen in, whatever you like. Got the whole lot of senators there, representatives, military, home and work addresses, phone stuff. Remember, when you invade America, I get to be president. And Putin says, well, we'll see. Oh, his efforts with some folks from the Mideast fizzled around the turn of the millennia. Yet he put somebody's son in instead. Make that video you hijack call to me with AT&T's executives on speakerphone. Amanda is at church, and that's the perfect place to hand out family photos on the Immaculate Network. Yes, the family of mankind. I'm Melton. This is my graphic art. This is my sharp looking wheelchair. And she's handing out these spots and telling everyone, if you thought your AT&T phone, your lifeline, your family's lifeline didn't work well in an emergency, make sure you 9/11 flight 93 checking post and 5. You make that video, the timestamp on your phone, number dial. And when you call up AT&T's executive, you tell them you got PhoneGate on video. Alter the phone records all you want. America has your PhoneGate on video. Here AT&T's hate of a man in a wheelchair and you. That's your family's lifeline they're hijacking. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 check in over a decade of asking. Turn that hate right back around. All AT&T employees put them on the back of any of my 93 check inventory, and I have a whole lot of it over the past decade. Whatever you like. Oh, there's their 5. Put their numbers, put their address. You park your noisemaker outside of AT&T's homes. Those lower level employees will tell you what the upper level folks are doing to compromise the security of America, as well as our families, our individuals. So, yeah, put their numbers on the back spot. If you call them 24/7, don't be afraid to be a little mean. They park their noisemakers outside a handicapped man's apartment, his home. You park your noisemakers out there and you call them 24/7. You get them when they just had a fight with their girlfriend, when Randall Stevenson, CEO, has been overworking them, and they'll tell you what else they're doing, what other treason their company is taking part in. Jack, Ralph, and Tony are on their way to the library. They're college students, and they see some Mormon cult missionaries case in the neighborhood when most of those folks are off working hard. The only ones home are their kids in the afternoon. This happens to be the afternoon. So they honk for Jesus. Get it right to them, and they honk, and they tell them, we got an eye on you, you perverts. And Jesus doesn't like your name-stealing cult or your Saudi Arabian Muslim terrorists on American soil. They'll let everybody do that. Good idea. Let them know you're watching. Oh, writers out, looks like, for the dirty business of the AT&T folks. They don't use anything with their name on the side. They bought Spectrum a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm not sure, but I haven't seen one AT&T on the side of the vans bought to harass a man in a wheelchair. He's been asking for 9/11 Flight 93 checks for over a decade and not gotten one. Tried to call me up with all AT&T employees on speakerphone. Tell them you can alter phone records all you want. I'm getting truth. I'm getting your PhoneGate. Timestamp on your phone, number dialed, AT&T employees reaction. Post. Solani, a Fed. Oh, see if Vapor Trade 9/11 Flight 93 checking posted by. Trying to call me, want to know why America's lifelines are being hijacked when you do. Post. Whatever you get when you don't get me. Lonnie walks into the warehouse and he says, why do you have security cameras here? It's a stolen mail warehouse. And he gets that spray paint and he spray paints over the lens. And yeah, meanwhile, Bill and Wendell, 2 computer experts, are watching as, you know, their screen gets painted over. Yeah, it goes over the last week, but it also backs up to the cloud. And Bill says, well, we're just going to have to mail Melton a phone now. Easter Sunday. And Father Olfactory has a whole bunch of 5s with AT&T's employees' numbers and addresses on the backs of them. The same with the generals and the colonels. He knows that AT&T's hands are very bloody, and he's going to get those lower level folks to talk about what treason Randall Stevenson has them involved in. Yeah, I just witnessed the devil Lori taunting next door, turning the noise on, the lorry backup noise. I get up my phone to make a video, it's turned off. Second I put the phone down, it's turned back on again. It's Lori Devil with her impersonators of me. Get those documentary videos going worldwide. And yes, he tells them, you call up all these folks, you put them on speakerphone, you try to call Melton. Show them your phone hijacked. Get their reaction post. So the general and traitor Colonel South are leaning up against a pallet of stolen mail. And the general says, if I get one more call about that son of a bitch, oh, he always gets that wrong. I'm Melton, son of a carpenter Mary. And he goes on, South, I thought you were doing something about that. And South says, well, I am. I'm moving folks on a big merry-go-round from Utah to LA to just under the man to harass him. Well, you're not doing a very good job because he's making all kinds of good videos. You know, maybe we should just roll out the military red carpet and help him get started building Jesus' Immaculate House. And they just put a damn message. CBS just mailed a damn thing to cover up the damn counter. Do you know how fucking pathetic that is? Melton's wearable imagery. Oh, I've worn a flash drive with a label on it. Time or two. Lets folks know that they can ask you for the contents of the flash drive and get that truth worldwide. Here's Siren, 911, Flight 93, checking posting 5, trying to call me Melton. You want to know when else your lifelines won't be allowed to work because of political, religious, and business lifeline censorship? Not 193 check call in over a decade of asking. Every time you hear that siren, remind yourself to check. You got the time on your phone, you got the number dialed, my number. And yes, these folks are active, very active. AT&T bought Spectrum next door to harass a man in a wheelchair who's been asking you for 911 Flight 93 check for over a decade and hasn't gotten one. And yes, the Mormon cult and Muslim cult are both active, as well as the Chinese Great Wall of Evil. Man threatening from AT&T's parking lot, we're gonna finish you all. After another African American man threatening from parking lot. You better be quiet. Tell the world to make a video of America's hijacked lifelines and AT&T's active part in that. Oh, all Mormons try to call me with them on speakerphone. Get those executives on speakerphone from next door. AT&T bought Spectrum to harass a man in a wheelchair, and you. That's your family's lifeline not working. Call them on that. Get them on speakerphone. Don't forget your generals and colonels. Determine if they are treasonous or not by how they react to your documenting AT&T's threat to America's security. 424-229-4140. Make that video with Randall Stevenson, AT&T executives on speakerphone. Ask them. Tell them. Doesn't matter how many phone records you AT&T. We've got the timestamp on the phone. We've got Mr. Brady's number dialed. We have your threat to our security phone gate AT&T on video. See that vapor trail? Be on the side of those driving the tanks. The jeeps, the jets, the side of children and THRU. Make that video of the hijack call to me, Melton. And yeah, put AT&T's phone records, put AT&T's employees on speakerphone. Tell them you can AT&T the phone records all you want. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 check with a decade of 93 check imagery and video. You can AT&T those phone records all you want. America has your phone gate on video. With them on speakerphone, you try to call me. Timestamp on your phone, number dialed. Find out what else AT&T is up to aside from compromising America's security. Your family security as well. Remember, guys, depending on how much money or how much insurance you've got, you will be an organ donor or an organ recipient. When you end up in the emergency room in that life-threatening predicament, use logic. Do you think President's Day there. Do you think you're going to get better treatment if you check that box to be an organ donor? Or do you think something that would just be a trip to the hospital is now, oh, he was so nice, he donated his organs to that rich guy? A false Mormon cult prophet, Russell Nelson, is addressing a whole bunch of young folks on their way all across America from Utah. And he says, I know you pervert missionaries are gonna do Utah proud. Casing those neighborhoods coast to coast when the only ones home are the kids after school. And he notices some of the pervert missionaries are a-giggling. And Jim J, he goes up to solve the problem. He's got a plain little cigarette back behind his ears. Russell does. And yeah, he may be seen now, but he likes his weed. He puts up a fight, gets Jim J in that headlock, trying to take it from him. This Chinese manager, executive of AT&T, is in town. And he's hanging out in a Spectrum parking lot, talking to other AT&T. Spectrum was bought by AT&T to harass a man in a wheelchair. And you, not one 9/11 Flight 93 taken over a decade of asking. So he's hanging out in the parking lot and he's telling these other AT&T employees all about how Randall's hands are red. They're literally reddish color. And he tells them why. He likes to, when they hijacked a lifeline, like when you tried to call me during an emergency, he can get a hold of the blood afterwards. He dips his hand in blood. Oh, so they say the damnedest things out there in the parking lot. Guys, remember, tomorrow's Easter. To get that Mormon Muslim AT&T call list going. Tell everyone, oh yeah, hand out these files at church, at your get together, check your family's lifeline, timestamp on your phone, number dialed. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 taking over a decade of asking, guys. No certified mail either. But let me get back to that Mormon Muslim watch call list. The Mormons don't mind you calling them 24/7, trying to call me with them on speakerphone. They send missionaries down every street in America. And yes, the Muslims have sent missionaries over here as well. You've heard of 9/11? AT&T, make that video of all employees on speakerphone as you try to call me. Post. I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not a supermodel. My modeling career is being AT&T. So's your business as well. Pick up that phone, try to call me. 424-229-4140. And you're going to get something boring, I'm sure. Phone ringing, error message, busy signal. Whatever boring thing you get, it's not going to be boring if you need the firemen, police, or paramedics, and it's money out of your pocket every day. It's your AT&T livelihood. So call up Randall Stevenson and the other AT&T executives and put them on speakerphone. You try to call me. You ask them, generals and colonels too. You ask them about America's compromised security because of their political, religious, and business censorship. And you tell them all about your AT&T livelihood, lost customers. And you tell them you can alter phone records all you want. America has AT&T's phone gate on video. You got the timestamp on your phone, you got the number dial. Get phone gate on video today. And come see me. Let me design you some imagery. Ask me and go. Motorized wheelchair. For some beautiful imagery. How's that? Nice sunrise. Oh, that's 3 different graphic art photos. You can find 28,000 plus graphic art photos on DAFFODILIA. The Wix site there, my portfolio site. Lots of flower imagery, skylines, a shirtless handsome bald guy, sunset, a light, kind of shadow stuff. Check it out. Christ Complex links, one place to go to follow the links. Print out graphic art photos as 4x6 photos, and yeah. Come see me in person to be in Melton's imagery. Just look for the bald eagle in Eagle Rock with that sharp wheelchair. Melton's bird imagery. You got an ugly bird and you think it has a need for a PR campaign. Oh, I got the wrong set. You got a flower whose petals are a little off. Well, try to call me. 424-229-4140. See the devil stealing your call. Then come see me in person and let me design you some beautiful imagery. You know, put the cover over the bird cage and say, this is my bird right here. Wang is glad he moved from China to Dallas. He doesn't have to kiss Ming's ass anymore, but just Randall Stevens. And those snot-nosed executives of AT&T. And yet, Wang speaks good enough English to understand what they're saying when they park that noisemaker outside of his home 24/7, and they call him up 24/7. Get Wayne to go postal, and he will tell you exactly what Randall's doing other than hijacking your call to me right now. 424-229-4140. 24/7. Tell him. You can alter phone records all you want. We got your phone gate on video. Post. Colby, you're one of us now. Never forget that. Randall Stevenson, whenever he introduces a new executive to the rest of the executives, always takes them on a little private getaway. And yes, Colby had earned his spot by being an active part in America's Hijacked Lifelines. Made sure that phone didn't work as the man had an emergency at his house. And whenever he can do this, Randall does it. He got the blood from the hospital, after the man had died. And he dips his hands in it, says, Colby, you're one of us now. So an AT&T executive runs into Randall Stevenson's office. He says the president's on the phone. He wants to know about AT&T's hijacking of our lifelines, compromising of our security as a nation. And Randall says, well, tell the El Presidente what he can do with his call about America's security. And the exec says, no, this isn't South America. This is United States. And Randall says, yeah, I know. Tried to call me with the executives of AT&T on the phone, tell them we got your phone gate on video. So Charlie, head of the LAPD cops, talks to his second in command. You won't believe what just happened. The nicest society lady, one of those $1,000 a plate ones. She said, why are you letting Saudi Arabian terrorists and Mormon cult members terrorize a man in a wheelchair? Everyone I know has called you to complain about the Muslim shriek John Milton Brady gotten off, and instead of police action. Do you know there are legal repercussions for that stuff? You're not doing your job, and are you getting paid to look the other way? Traitor Colonel South has been doing some work in South America, and he and Juan get out of bed and go over to the window, and Juan says, El Presidente? You think you can make me El Presidente? And Colonel South says, oh, we don't have to stop there. AT&T can shut down United States of America's phones. And once that's done, Canada's not a problem at all. El Presidente of the Americas. Yeah, one's kind of a distant relative of Adolf, so he thinks he can do it. Susan goes into an electronics store and she says, I want one of those phone security cameras. Yes, he knows a man or a woman who is in activist, and whatever he's active and passionate about, it has got him poor health, or at least he's in poor health, and he wants to make sure, or she wants to make sure, Susan does, that AT&T's hatred and bad business practices is not keeping that lifeline from working in emergency. Oh, if everyone who has experienced AT&T's character over the years gets one of those, you're going to see a lot of change. Wear them with Deo. What's the Great Wall of Evil? It's just me. I'm growing a new pair of eyes. Whole new body. To build Jesus' immaculate house here on earth. It's just me in all of this imagery that should have a whole lot of folks building Jesus' immaculate house. Unprecedented change, millennium in the making, waiting to burst forth. Make that video of your hijack call to me. That's also the Great Wall of Evil. Then come tear that wall down so we can get started building a better world. Here Randall Stevenson's 8. 9/11 Flight 93 checking posting 5 with all AT&T employees 24/7, 365. You put their numbers in the back of this photo, this 4x6 print, and you call them up 24/7. You get those lower level employees. There's one right there outside my home. You park outside their homes with noisemakers 24/7. You call them up 24/7. You get them at that right time. They'll tell you what else they're doing besides compromising America's security by hijacking our lifelines and altering phone records to cover it up. Tell them you got the timestamp on your phone, you got the number dialed, you've got their phone gate. Here is Sarah, 9/11 Flight 93, checking posting 5. But Dave gets the call. Randall Stevenson himself. I told him it's time. And he knows which number is going to get the slowdown, because something's going on at that particular activist or other good Americans' home or business. And what Dave doesn't know is that to build a better world, a computer entrepreneur has been taking part. They're very clever. And he's got a nice sneaky thing in his phone making a documentary. It's not if it's right or wrong, guys. It's necessary. You document AT&T's bloody hands today. Tomorrow is Easter, and I'll be spending that Easter alone. Bill has tried to call me. He sees his family's lifeline being hijacked as he does. He knows all about the impersonators of Stone Cold Melton, one and only designer of this image and many others. So he's going to do something for his family tomorrow. He knows those impersonators and the devil's people, Chinese with them, though they don't always look Chinese. Nearby, he's going to park his noisemaker outside of their homes on that Easter. He's going to have others. He will call them up 24/7. He's going to get them to break what they're involved in besides hijacking America's lifelines, impersonating me. Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fella, is going to be late for work. He is in the middle of a dream. And yes, he's chasing after a cat. The Orientals love the cats and the dogs. And then he's in the future. 200 years. And a child in a classroom walks up to the teacher and he says, "What's a general?" And the teacher explains that generals had become so corrupt in their assault of Jesus' immaculate house of truth that they were discontinued. Those who had part in stealing mail and hijacking lifelines were called Judases, the others were called Peters. So Jeff is irate. Jeff's an AT&T executive. He's cussing up a storm. He's out in his yard. And yeah, he's gotten his share of PhoneGate videos. Put the numbers on the backs of these fives. Call them up. Try to call me with them on speakerphone. Ask them. Oh no, tell them. You're making a video of their PhoneGate. You can AT&T those phone records all you want. We've got your crimes on video. And he's irate because he told his boss, Randall Stevenson, he would store something for the company in his shed, and he went to look, and it's a whole bunch of Melton's stolen mail. His traitor South's got the post office and his phone company, AT&T. Line imagery. This is LA. Have wit, will travel. Show me that perfect place to design the imagery around. To build an immaculate house. Make that video if you hijack call to me. 424-229-4140. That's Lifeline censorship. Then come see me in person. Let me design you. Some beautiful imagery. I can make you look sharp against some clouds. Just look for the handsome bald guy in the sharp wheelchair. A sharp looking wheelchair. A girl in a new body. I got to build those immaculate houses where we're 1,000 points of light. Used to be all dark brown, now that outer circle's missing. Doing a little genetic carpentry as a son of Carter Mary. Make that video if you hijack the call to me. Then come see me in person. Have wit, will travel. Show me a great place to build. Oh, when you got so many folks desperate in active parts in America's hijack lifelines for over a decade, you got so many folks throwing hate at you. It's always good to have rechargeable batteries for your Nikon. Because the devil's people are walking among us. How desperate as anything right now. Remember, 911 Flight 93, check and post in 5. Put the numbers of generals and AT&T executives on the backs of those fives. And come see me in person when you can't reach me by phone. And make sure you get that on video. Those in the way of America's security, hijacking a call to me for over a decade. I'm Melton, son of a carpenter and Mary. Dad, a carpenter, worked on skyscrapers, Mom, Mary Ann. Get those lists. Remember, AT&T employees, that includes Spectrum, and generals. They love noise. Give them as much as they would like, and then when they're yelling and screaming about what other treason they're involved in. You get that on video. All AT&T employees, all generals. Put those screws on, let those humored lives. Oh, call them up when you know they're drunk, when you know they're high, when you know they've been overworked because they're hijacking a lot of lifelines. Call them up. Try to call me. Ask them what other treasonous activities you're a part of. They just might tell you. Remember the post. Hear AT&T's hatred? Call them on it. Because that's not just hatred of a man in a wheelchair. Telling you, a sharp-looking wheelchair, I might add. Telling you about your family's hijacked lifeline site. It's AT&T's hatred of your family. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 check in a decade of asking. So, call up all AT&T employees, get them on that bad day, call them 24/7. Get them when Randall Stevenson, CEO, has been overworking them. Get them when they just had a fight with a girlfriend home from the bar, been smoking a little weed, and they will tell you what else that is compromising America's security that AT&T, which bought Spectrum next door, is doing. Do a little intel for America. Get them angry and they'll tell you exactly what they're up to. 9/11 Flight 93 checking post and thrive. You're trying to call me Melton. You want to know why America's lifelines are being hijacked? Make that video. It's Easter. (2019). Make that video, post that video of your hijack call to me, and organize those Mormon, Muslim cult and the AT&T employee watch call list. Oh, it's simple. You call me up, try to, with them on speakerphone, and you ask them what else are they involved in besides America's hijacked lifelines. Not one 9/11 Flight 93 check in a decade, as those folks have been an active part.